Forgiveness. Woo-wee. That's a big word. For some people, almost an unbearable one. But it is also one of the most freeing and awesome processes that you could ever undertake. I'm going to share some of the benefits of it, the hurdles and hang-ups that we get stuck on, and some ideas to help you through it. So there's two certainties in life, right? Death and taxes. No, that's the wrong video. There are two certainties in life. At some point, you will be hurt badly by somebody, and you will hurt somebody else. Nobody gets to go through life untouched by offense, whether they want to or not. And first, some disclaimers. Nothing in this video is moral finger-wagging or preaching. It's just encouragement to consider a process that can free and detoxify you. Also, I know that there have been people who have been brutalized, raped, had their children murdered, faced situations that are unthinkable. And I can't enter into that kind of horror. And while I do believe that forgiveness is possible even then, especially with the help of a higher power, that is over my head and beyond the scope of this video. But when you've been hurt, offended, violated, betrayed, even though it's because of somebody else's action or neglect, it becomes your burden. And maybe theirs too. But you become the one with your finger on the button to change things. So the benefits. First of all, the person who wronged you will always hold some power over you without forgiveness. And with forgiveness, you will be freed from a ball and chain that you may not even realize was there. No doubt about it, unforgiveness is a poison that destroys the vessel that holds it. And the amount of peace, dignity, and self-worth that you will gain will uplift you enormously. God has assured us that in order to receive forgiveness, we have to be willing to give it. This is the law of the universe, not just religious preaching. Consider, for example, what the world would be like if every person was held accountable for every slight and insult, intentional or not. It would be a chaos of hatred and resentment, and we would have killed ourselves off long ago. I know it's a whole lot easier to understand that concept at arm's length, but it becomes a different story when the offense or betrayal is something we've experienced personally, isn't it? Nevertheless, the truth remains. And here's some of the hang-ups. He doesn't deserve to be forgiven. Sure. How significant an act would it be if he did deserve it? And if he did deserve it and you still withheld it, how selfish would that make you? She's not even sorry. Maybe, maybe not. Now, some people are so burdened by their guilt that they can't even face up to it themselves, let alone express remorse to somebody else. And of course, some people may be totally ignorant of or don't understand the offense that they committed. If I forgive them, then it will just be condoning or justifying their actions. Now, look inside yourself here. Has anybody ever been kind to you when you were in the wrong? Did it make you feel like you weren't wrong after all? That's not the message that forgiveness conveys. I'll forgive them when they apologize. Well, that's not forgiveness. It's a deal. It's an accord reached by a mutual agreement. And it has great value, but it doesn't have the power and charity that forgiveness has. And often when forgiveness comes first, that's what causes the dam to break and restores the relationship and frees the other person. That's not the same as waiting for an apology. So, how do you even begin the monumental, overwhelming effort to forgive? First, separate the feelings from the story. You may recognize the toxicity of unforgiveness and want to do something about it. But when you try, the whole story comes up and the hurt is all refreshed again and your intentions just get flushed down the tubes. The episode is in the past, but the poison is in the present. So try to wrap up the episode like a dirty diaper and throw it away, and then you can deal with the feelings on their own. Don't equate saying, "I forgive you," with "it's okay." even to yourself. It's not okay. And it's vital not to minimize or dismiss the damage done to you. Don't equate forgiving somebody with an obligation to restore the relationship or your feelings about them. That would just be a pretense. However, if it is mutually desirable to restore the relationship, that's a good thing too. And forgiveness is a required step. And finally, forgiveness is a long-term process, not a snap decision. You don't decide to lose 10 pounds and all of a sudden you're 10 pounds lighter. But you do decide to go on a diet or start exercising. It's the end goal that you have to start with. That's the decision you make. In my own personal deep experience of hurt, I liken the bitterness and betrayal and hurt like this hairy monster that I had to force into a trash can and put the lid on it and sit on it. Now, how many times did that monster escape and have to be wrestled back into the trash can while I shed blood and tears and climbed back on top of the lid? Many times in many years. Usually forgiveness, especially for a life-altering betrayal or offense, is like a financial graph where the line zigzags up and down, peaks and valleys, but hopefully it has an overall upward trend. And my own journey towards forgiveness wasn't instigated by some noble, righteous ideal, but partly by fear, and partly getting to the point where I could look back upon my own life and my actions and hang my head as I recognized my own weaknesses and mistakes and failures. Humility, maturity, and the long view of life and humanity is a big motivator for forgiveness. I can tell you that after many decades of my own experience, I am beyond grateful that at least I set my sights on forgiveness. And there are times, even now in dreams, that the pain comes back to haunt me. But when I wake up and realize that the experience is long past and I've been freed from it, oh man, the relief that floods me is beyond value. My friend, I know forgiveness is a tricky word and sometimes a bitter and an overwhelming concept. But it can be the key that frees you and somebody else from a lifelong prison. And I do urge everyone to embrace it and make it part of who you are. And that's part of my philosophy for a full life.